Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. Settle back, everybody. We have a great show today. As you know from watching the show, we love specialists. We love people that are able to go into a space and basically dominate. And when they go into that one space, they learn all the ins and outs of what has to happen to be successful. And we brought on the entrepreneur's entrepreneur today. Her name is Lauren Mingee, and she is the CEO and founder of Quintessa Marketing. And let me tell you, they've focused in very, very successfully on the law business. I mean, when it comes to attorneys and lawyers looking for leads, looking to help as many clients as they can, Lauren and her team at Quintessa are go-to people. I mean, she's the go-to company for so many attorneys throughout America that want to increase their business and have giant impact with the growth of their particular law practices. So Lauren, it's so great to have you on the show. Welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. You've built a wonderful business. I mean, so many lawyers and attorneys and firms, you know, they're just raving about what you do. But before we get started, why don't we pull the lens back to 30,000 feet? Tell us about Quintessa, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. So Quintessa helps personal injury lawyers go into markets and develop leads for them on their signed retainers. So pretty much we give them signed, sealed, delivered retainers, just very fast.
It's unbelievable. I mean, when you think about an attorney, you know, they go to undergrad, they go to law school, you know, they get a job as a young attorney. Sometimes they make partners, sometimes they open their own law firms. Everybody who's, you know, in the law field, who's an attorney, they know they don't teach you about lead gen at law school. You know, they don't teach you how to get signed, sealed, and delivered, you know, clients on retainer, and you take care of all the work for them in that regard. Is that the idea?
That is correct. You know, we say you get to be an attorney, like do what you do best and let me do what I do best, which is marketing and giving you those signed, sealed, delivered retainers.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So we think about it, you know, we watch a lot of TV, we're online, we see advertisements for various legal verticals, whether it's accident law or maybe it's a class action lawsuit type of a law. Where's your focus? What's the sweet spot for what you do at the company, Lauren?
Yeah. So most of our lead generation is focused on motor vehicles. So if there's wheels on it, we handle it.
I love it. If there's wheels on it, you handle it.
Yes, sir.
So you have a program where a law firm reaches out to you. Let's talk about this signed, sealed, and delivered with a retainer, client. I've never heard anything like that. That's just so powerful. How does all that work?
Yeah, so we have a 24-hour pretty much guarantee. So if a lawyer signs on with us within 24 hours, they're receiving a new retainer. So without having a law office in that location, so let's say they want to just dip their toes into a new location before spending all the money, they come to us and we saturate the market and then start the spigot pretty much for them. And they go in with other forms of marketing on top of it.
Wow. When you go into a market for a new attorney that wants to, let's say, try it out, do you brand their law firm or are you branding something more generic to get the calls and then you handle the calls to deliver to the new client?
Yes. So it's all non-branded marketing. So it's very generic. And then what we do is after we speak with the potential client, we match them with an attorney and that attorney, helps them from there.
Yeah. And of course, if it has wheels on it, people are reaching out to your firm that then sign up with a retainer. So you must have some very talented people on the other end of the phone when these people call from your advertising or they see it online or they call in. How important is it for you to hire a great team? Because I know you're so team orientated. How important is the team of people that take those inbound calls to your business?
I'll tell you that the team, this company's never been done before. So the team had to be developed. But for us, if the team member, if they are hardworking and they show up, we want them and we like to incentivize them. So our teammates do very well here.
Yeah, I love it. And of course, we want to talk about law. We want to talk about leads. We want to talk about if it has wheels, you handle it. But one thing that's very, very interesting is your entrepreneurial journey. And of course, all the awards you've won. And one of the things that you're recognized for, of course, is the way as a woman that you epitomize leadership, in the field and leadership as an entrepreneur. So you get recognized quite often. How important is that leadership position, Lauren, for your entire company? In other words, that corporate culture has to come from you and your leadership team. What's the corporate culture? What do you want the people that work at your company to feel every single day that they come to work?
That they matter, and that, regardless of your past, it doesn't define you. And you are able to come in here and make really great money, life-changing money for them. And it helps families and it helps break generational curses. So to me, knowing that they have an opportunity here and it's more than just working at a retail store.
Yeah, it's so great. And the way in which you believe in giving back, we did a deep dive and you have a very interesting background. You've overcome a lot of obstacles in your own life as well that really led you to really prioritizing the way in which you want to empower others and really create opportunities for your community and for the people that work for you as well. How important is your background to the mindset that you have as a CEO and an entrepreneur?
I think there's not a lot of opportunities for people that don't have a college degree, which I don't. And so, presently we have an opportunity to help a female-based entrepreneur here in Oklahoma give $100,000 to invest in their company. So that's something we're very passionate about. As well as if people here want to start their own companies, we want to help them do it because 15 years ago, I was working at Chili's. So I would have never thought that I would be here. So it's a total blessing to be where I'm at.
I love it. Of course, when I used to go to Chili's, I would love getting some of their Mexican flavored food. It was a great place to go. And who knew that, maybe I met you there and here you are running this amazing company. That's incredible. Now, women entrepreneurs. Let's talk about women attorneys. How often does a woman attorney reach out to you and say, Lauren, I've seen what you've done in the community. I know you're a leader in the women entrepreneur field. I want to, join forces. What can you do to get me some leads for my firm?
Yeah, to be honest, it's very sad that it's a very small amount of women in personal injury. They're owned predominantly by men. So, whenever they come on, I like to extend my own, welcome to that and be able to speak with them myself. But hopefully there'll be more personal injury lawyers stepping in soon that are women.
Yeah, I love it, of course. And Lauren, we all believe in a higher power, and certainly people at DotCom magazine believe that as well. And we wake up in the morning and we're very thankful and we move forward with a lot of gratitude. And you do that as well, of course, by giving so much back, by donating so much money and time and effort to the local nonprofits, whether it's a food bank or the Oklahoma Dream Center. When we think about that part of your life, how important is it to move forward with gratitude and be thankful for what you have?
Our entire company is based off that. So our company exploded in COVID, actually, whenever we decided to donate half our profit. So every month we give away half of our profit and we donate it to, national and also just in the state, things that we really care about. And everyone here knows it. So we try to empower our employees to do the same thing as well.
Yeah, it's great. And of course, I want to get a little geeky on the marketing part here, because as you're giving back to the community, you need on the front end to be helping so many clients in a powerful way. And we know that Google is a very crowded marketplace. And for an attorney that isn't trained on Google, it could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing spend. And, they don't get really a guaranteed ROI. But in your case, you have this guaranteed ROI, which is really, really interesting, I feel. Let's talk about that. How did that sort of value proposition come up in the company?
Well, To be honest, I used to do branded marketing for attorneys. And the issue is, if you rank someone number one in Google, there's not really anywhere else to get them. And so it was a very short life cycle. So what I decided was to start it with non-branded advertising, and I was successful with that. And what's great is as we would go state by state, we would have a bigger budget. And so it allowed us to have a competitive edge over a lot of the different competitors in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm sorry, Lauren, I was getting ahead of myself for the next question, but that's such an interesting answer because you do this advertising, the calls come in, and then you have this highly trained intake department that really acts as an appendage for the law firm. They really act as a lifeline, if you will, for the law firm to get this client. And then you do a qualification, right? If the client meets the qualifiers, what then happens? How do you get them into the retainer?
Yeah. So we have our own proprietary CRM that we developed in-house. And so what they do is they sign, we send them the contingency fee agreement, they sign it, and then we actually API, which is just a communication between our system and the lawyer system, and into the attorney system. And then we live transfer the actual client signed, sealed, delivered to the attorney. And then they follow up for 7 days as well with the client to make sure they're happy.
It's such a great idea. Do you remember the aha moment, Lauren, when you said to yourself, nobody's ever done this? I've got an idea that I think could be a breakthrough idea. I call them the breakthrough ideas.
Right.
Do you remember the aha moment?
For me, I was traveling back and forth to LA, working for a law firm, and I had a 1-year-old. And for me, and her name's Ruby. And so for me, the aha moment was, I've got to think smarter. There has to be something I can do here that can be a value add to attorneys as opposed to flying to New York or Florida or LA, because I used to have to travel a lot because I want to spend more time with her. But people don't tell you when you start your own company, you actually have no time. You spend more time in the company. But that was my moment, is like, how can I be more involved with my family? How can I be more involved with my daughter? And that's where it all came from. Whiteboarded out, and it was starting the next day.
Wow, that's such a great journey. The attorneys. Mm-hmm. We look at attorney marketing. We look at other types of marketing. And sometimes at DotCom Magazine, we say to ourselves, these people produce leads, but they don't get back to the leads. So they're spending money in marketing, they're spending money in advertising, and they get a lead on their website or some other channel, and the lead sits there for 2, 3, 4 days. And by the time they get back to that lead, the lead is cold. The potential customer already went somewhere else. You've completely solved that problem, right?
Yes. Our average speed to lead is what we call it. So our average speed to lead is under 30 seconds. So by the time it's coming in, they're calling it and it's being texted automatically. So
that's incredible. And in your cycle, we'll call it a sales cycle, is it all done by phone, or is it also done by chat and web, or is it primarily a phone intake that leads to the qualifier that leads to the qualified lead for the attorney?
So we warm up the lead through different pieces, because they may be, on Facebook submitting something or at work. So we're communicating with them whatever way is simplest for them, the ease of there. And then whenever we get them on the phone, that's when it's closed. So we have to speak with them for a solid 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's all done and ready to go.
I love it. It's great. You've solved the problem. You've solved a huge problem, and that for entrepreneurs watching the show, you might want to rewind this entire interview with Lauren, because there's nuggets along the way about how to handle yourself, how to have an aha moment that really solves a huge problem. And I would imagine that these attorneys, the faster they get on the phone with their client that's already been delivered to them in a qualified way from you, and the faster they start moving toward resolving that client's situation with the car accident, every minute counts for an attorney. Is that right?
It does. And that's why we took it a step further and did the follow-up, because sometimes the attorney will say, hey, my intake staff is instructed to do XYZ, and they don't do XYZ. So that's why we follow up with the client and make sure they're being taken care of.
Yeah, I love it, Lauren. I'm so happy you cut out some time today. I know it was so hard for you to find some time in your day. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about your entrepreneurial spirit. I want to give back to the entrepreneurs watching the show. I mean, here you were. I mean, you mentioned that you were a server at Chili's and, 16 years ago, and here you are, building this wonderful and remarkable company. Let's talk to the younger entrepreneurs. For the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, and they're saying, hey, wow, I mean, this is a great story, but I'm in the middle of a tough time. I'm freezing in the frame. Maybe I have a roadblock. What type of advice can you give almost as a mentor? Because I know you love that so much.
Yes.
To give back to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show about what they need to do to get through a tough time.
I would tell, for me, it really was never give up on yourself. And I think the reason why I say if you believe that this is what you're called to do, despite what your family says, despite what your friends say, I mean, sometimes they're your biggest critics because they want to protect you. So I would just say you have to fight that good fight and just know, hey, I want to be able to set this goal and I'm going to work backwards to do it. And I'm going to not leave any stone unturned. And so I would say betting on yourself, there's no one better to do that.
Yeah, I love it so much. And great entrepreneurs that I've had on the show, one thing that resonates for me that occurs almost all the time is along the path, you have doors that are closed in your face. You have doors that are shut. We all do. And a lot of entrepreneurs I've spoken with, Lauren, say they use that as fuel for the fire. They use that, sort of people saying you can't do this to even further push them ahead to want to do it and get something done. Is that how you've been able to turn some things in your life into a positive?
I would tell you I've been told no more than I've been told yes. People just see the fairy tale moment now. They see the outcome. They don't see all the work that it took. But I will tell you, don't be afraid to be told no, because behind every no, it gives you some sort of information, and you can use that to get a yes. Because I received thousands of no's, and again, it's just you have to dig in and you have to continue to work hard. And if you bet on yourself, you'll always come out on top.
Yeah, I love it, Lauren. Of course, when it comes to giving, which you do very well and you do in abundance, one thing that we have seen is that when the CEO or a founder of a great company has this passion to give, that it sort of waterfalls down throughout the entire organization. And the people working at the organization start saying to themselves, wow, I work for this great company. We're giving back. Maybe I want to give back in a little way as well. Are you finding that with the employees at the company based on your leadership in the giving realm?
I'll tell you one story, and they don't tell me a lot of them, but one of our managers said that randomly I had given him a bonus, and I had just felt led to give him a bonus. And he said the day before I gave him that bonus, he had tithed for the first time. And the amount that I gave him was 10 times more than what he had given. And so for me, of course, I'm just, in tears hearing that. But to me, it was before he had even gotten a bonus, he was already wanting to give because he was so moved by what the company. And so for me now, it's just DNA. Like this is what we do. It's not anything magical. It's just, this is where we feel led. But I'll tell you, as a company that gives away, it's pretty empowering to see the impact that it goes.
That's beautiful. And before I let you go, I have to talk to you about mentorship. I mean, I know you love mentorship. I know you love mentoring. I know you have mentors and, you mentor throughout the community and throughout your own organization. For the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, how important is it to surround yourself with mentors, with people that can give you great advice, especially people that care about you?
I'll tell you, it's important to be mentored by the right mentor. And so I would tell you to almost be highly skeptical of a mentor until you've vetted them, because you want to make sure the advice you're getting is sound advice. Because a lot of people will look at you as an opportunity to either, take some money or whatever may have you. And so time is the only thing you can't get back. So make sure when you're spending it with someone, it's worth spending it with.
Such a strong piece of advice. I was speaking to one of my mentors, And one of my mentors said exactly the same thing. It's not just about the mentorship,
Right.
but you have to vet to make sure that the mentor really cares about you, because if they don't care about you, then how good really can the mentorship be? I mean, it's remarkable. All right, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time. You got to get back to it. So I'm going to finish with just one last question that I'm very curious about. When we talk about corporate culture, we talk about leadership from the top. When you wake up in the morning, what's your mindset? I mean, are you thinking about the clients? Are you thinking about the clients' clients? Are you thinking about your team? Are you thinking about the technology that you have? Are you thinking about, the algorithm that you've built? What's the thing in the morning that's like primarily on your mind when you get going to get, to work after you spend time with your family? What's the thing that's driving this whole thing right now?
Well, I'll tell you, when I wake up every morning, I start with moments by myself and really focus on lining out the day and some meditation. And then, if your cup's not filled, you can't spill into everyone else. Like, you can't fill anyone else's cup if your cup's not filled. So that's the big thing that I've taken. And then when I get here, I am speaking with my assistant, and then I have VPs, and I am making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be. I feel like a CEO is kind of a chameleon. They need to be able to go into each different division and help them out. So for me, it's servant leadership. It's how can I help you? What can I do? Because I've run all of them. I know it really stinks sometimes. So let me know how you need help. And then I feel like with that, it really gets the day going the right way.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's a great way to look at it, that if your cup has to be filled with something good so that then it can overflow into the cups of others. I mean, that's great. That's going to be, I could see that being part of your TED Talk coming up. Listen, Lauren, this has been a great interview. What you're doing at Quintessa is great. We haven't heard anything like this before, so we know you're on to something that's very big, and you're on the cutting edge. You're helping so many attorneys out there and their practices, and you're helping people that have been injured. So it's a great way to go. Besides that, you're helping the people on your team have gainful employment that they love so much that they feel very confident that you're going to be around for a long time, and they're going to have the opportunity to share in the success of your business. You just have put together a great complete package. So thank you so much for coming on the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.